Aita for telling my husband I'll go back to work if he doesn't give me 50% of his earnings. I'm currently a Sam. I never wanted to be one. But when I had my kid, it broke my heart. When I could barely spend time with her due to my work, I wanted at least one parent to be with her while she grows up. He wanted the same too. So I decided to quit my job. I had some savings I could manage for a while. He told me he'd support us while I was earning thrice as much as him, and our lifestyle would take a temporary hit, but we wouldn't be in trouble. When we both were working, we mostly split the chores 50/50, but now it became 100 me and 0 him. I was taking care of the baby, the house, groceries, taxes, walking the dog, cleaning and watering, maintenance, etc. I was beyond exhausted. I asked him for help occasionally, and he made a big show of doing it, said I'm not going to work anyway, so I should be doing all of this by myself with no help from him. I agree that I should be doing a lot, but not everything. He would act like he was a benevolent god if he washed one dish, and it was getting on my nerves. He wanted me to cook what he wanted whenever he wanted, learn to cook new things for him when he felt like it, to do his laundry and clean up after him constantly, which pissed me off. I also realized I was still paying for most of the household expenses from my savings, and he was barely contributing anything. So I told him that he's treating me like trash, like a live-in maid, and I can't take being ignored and expected to serve him constantly. He told me this is what a Sam should do, so I told him that unless he gives me 50% of his salary for household expenses and baby expenses, and contributes at home at least 25%, I will go back to work. He threw a huge fit about it, and I called up my old job, who had been dying to have me back, and set up an interview. A formality, honestly. They will take me back with no questions asked. He's sulking, saying I should be home with the baby. I'd rather continue to earn and come home to the baby than act as his butler. Aita, I really don't know. NTA. Why isn't he a SAHF? If you earn so much more than him, you're not just his free live-in maid. You actually pay for it. It makes absolutely zero sense. He told me he enjoys doing his job and would get depressed if he left it. I did suggest it to him, but he SSJD his mental health would be affected, so I agreed to quit instead. So he decided that's something he thought would be bad for his mental health to do. He'd go out of his way to make more difficult and stressful for you. Then he leaves you without money. Then he makes demands, like you having to cook whatever he feels like. Then he refuses to do anything around the house. But he wouldn't even consider doing even the childcare because of his mental health. Does he often have his head rammed this far up his own ass? Is he this selfish and controlling in everything you guys do? NTA. He's the sole financial contributor to the household but expects you to pay the household costs from savings. Unreal. NTA. Exclamation mark. This irritates and upsets me to read, because this is exactly what my father did to my mother. You are not a maid. You are a mum. A super mum, it sounds it. He can't expect you to do everything at his command on the daily. Being the sole income earner does not give someone the right to treat their partner like shit. I hope you're okay and can figure out something where you can go back to work and look after yourself more. As a working mom, I agree that she is doing an amazing job, and at this point the best thing for her mental health would be getting back to work, since she is running the show at home with zero support and has almost drained the savings while being treated like a slave by her supposed partner. Please take some time to schedule meetings with lawyers while you are at it to set yourself up. The relationship doesn't make it opus. Wow. I experienced the same as a child. My mom was a SAHM, and basically my mom had to implore him for money to pay the expenses. She started to work and earn some money, and today she earns a good wage. They are divorced, but he visits us as the useless man he is, demanding food, and says that my mom does nothing as her job. It's not only about money or finances, it's about power and make your partner feel inferior. It disgusts me. NTA. He sounds not very bright and has totally missed the point of what a SAHM does. Tell him if he feels so strongly he can stay at home and be treated the way he is treating you. I bet the farm that he doesn't take that offer up. At this point with the sulking etc, it sounds like you are dealing with 2 children. Maybe you should ditch one. NTA. What are you getting out of this marriage? NTA. But I disagree with your 50% request. 100% of his income belongs to the family, to be first spent keeping the family housed, fed and clothed, and then on whatever else you both agree to. Fund money for each of you. Savings. Whatever. NTA. Go back to work. Hes awful. You'll need your income for the divorce and sadly you'll end up paying him alimony cause you make so much more. Yep. Go back to work and let him know he can start doing all the cooking and cleaning. I wonder if she can divorce him before starting her job back to avoid this. This man deserves nothing from her. NTA. But I was still paying for most of the household expenses from my savings, and he was barely contributing anything. Seems like your marriage has zero financial planning. He's obviously an ass, but this is also on you for letting it get this far. This is a conversation that needed to happen before the kid. Well, before the wedding. Preferably. It sounds like the conversation did happen. He's just not following through on his part. He said he would take care of them, which since he's the one working means financially. I think what they are saying is that she's in part responsible for not telling him to buy X, Y or Z for the house, instead of buying things out of her savings. Should have been like grocery day is coming up. I need $150 apostrophe. He's probably justified to himself that he was contributing enough to finances. Even if his money has only been covering mortgage and bills, he is still obviously Tahir, and OP should address the imbalance of labor at the very least. NTA. SAHM is a job. The fact that OP had to take from her own savings to fund the household bills is ridiculous. Also Sam is also a 24/7 job compared to his, since she is taking on the kid and household. Him not wanting to at least give her a break or even funds for the work she does makes him an ungrateful asshole. He threw a tantrum and now is sulking saying that she should be with the baby. Honestly, I think this is a control thing. He wants his wife at home constantly and to be serving him whenever he wants to keep tabs on her. OP, you may want to think and reassess your relationship if you two think about having more kids. If he is this childish, that's what I don't even understand. I get his issue with the household chores. It's a shitty attitude, but I can at least sort of understand where he's coming from. But the finances? Like, how does he figure that it makes sense for the unemployed person to be paying all the bills? Does he even think about it? That's just so strange. NTA. Stand on your own 2 feet and make sure that you are stashing money into savings and your retirement account, because your husband sounds like an entitled leech. NTA. He should be funding your lifestyle and covering all bills, especially if he is expecting you to do 100% of all chores. That way you could use your savings to fund a gardener or handyman and outsource some chores that are too much for you. NTA. Having your own income is important because you need to be able to look after yourself if something goes wrong with your husband. NTA. If he isn't contributing, then go back to work and don't give him anything from your own pocket either. NTA. When I first read the title I thought this was going to go a different way. You are doing everything and paying all bills out of your savings. You are a saint. Why even have him around then? I'd be seriously reconsidering my relationship if my spouse acted like this. NTA. Your husband's being manipulative and toxic as hell. NTA. Your husband has zero respect for you and your family. NTA. Being a parent is hard, but a homemaker as well is more than a full-time job as you can never clock off. Your husband is an ass for treating you like he is better than you, and that helping out is beneath him. Hopefully when you go back to work, your husband might appreciate you or the work you do for your daughter and for your home more. NTA. Exclamation mark. Good on you for not praising him when he does the bare minimum. NTA. He is being so unfair and is verging on financial abuse. I'm in similar situation, except I'm the working parent and my partner stays home with our kid. He does the majority of the housework and cooking, but not all. All the money I earn goes into a joint account and is the family money. We joined our finances when we had our son, so the person at home wouldn't be at financial disadvantage. At the time it was me. Now our roles have reversed. It's always worked well for us. Even if you don't join finances completely, you need to have a joint account that covers all household expenses and is contributed to based on income. So right now that is 0 you. 100 him. If you go back to work and earn significantly more, it could 60/40 or whatever is deemed fair. I know couples that do this as well, and it works for them. NTA. Being a SAHM means you focus on the kid or kids, not that you become the maid, gardener, etc. As for paying for all the expenses, it doesn't make sense, because where's the money supposed to come from if he doesn't give it to you? Being a SAHM shouldn't mean financial suicide. NTA. You earn more. You should demand that he stay home with the baby. Turn his misogynistic dream into a nightmare. NTA. You're not his servant. If working makes you happier, go for it. NTA has being an ass. NTA. Housework is more than a full-time job, because your only break is when you get to sleep. Has a parent and your partner, and should do some of the work and childcare when he can. As for the payment you asked for, that was also reasonable. Again, housework and childcare is more than full-time work, and you deserve to have some say in your finances as well as some spending money, if you can afford it. Do what you think is best. Going back to work seems to excite you, and I'm sure you can manage to be a working mom and a good mom. Plus the addition of 3 times his salary could pay for a nanny if you wanted him, sure. Wow. NTA. Get a maid, a nanny, and a divorce. NTA. He is really treating you like a maid. Plus many moms work while raising babies, so it is not exactly a problem. I'm sure you can figure it out, but PLS, the way he is treating is not correct. Imo. Not even a maid, a slave. She is using her own money to pay for the house expenses, and he contributes nothing. NTA. But please either go to couples counseling or leave him. NTA. Please go back to work. I know it'll be hard with your child, but you need financial security separate from this person. If your work is so stoked to have you back, negotiate more flexible hours or the potential to work from home sometimes, so you can spend time with baby. Work/life balance is important. NTA. He's being childish. Go back to work. You will be better off, financially and mentally. Smells like bullshit. NTA. If he thinks it's so important for someone to be home with the baby, then maybe you two can switch places. You go to work, and he can be the house husband and do all the things he expected you to do. I think he needs to walk a mile in your shoes and see what it's like to be treated like a doormat. And he was treating you like a doormat. NTA. This seems to be a lot more about control than it is care for your child. If you're making 3x him, and he cares so much about a parent being home with the child, then he can be a SAHF. NTA. No, Sam does 100% of the housework and baby care. He's gotten comfortable with this new lifestyle and doesn't want to lose it. Remind him the work you do at home is unpaid and underappreciated, and let him know you will expect him to step up once you start back and your new job. NTA. My wife has been a SAHM for 10 years. I still am a very hands-on parent because my relationship with my kids is a unique one, and that can't be my wife's job. Everybody needs a break, and if you don't have some balance to household responsibilities, it's just not fair. He's sulking, saying I should be home with the baby. I'm sure the baby will be fine. Your child will be fine as well. NTA. NTA. Being a son is not for everyone, and for your husband to just completely shirk all home responsibilities is completely unfair. I agree with you. You will be better served either hiring somebody to come into your home or sending your child to daycare. No one wants to be treated like dirt in their own home. NTA. But you are to yourself for staying married to a man who does not care about or respect you. NTA. Your husband has behaved monstrously. He has shown you, if you're dependent on him financially, he will abuse the situation, putting himself above you and treating you like dirt, not an equal partner. Go back to work and put baby in daycare. Earn back up your savings. NTA. SAHM does not mean you do 100% of everything. A marriage and parenting is split. Go back to work if he's going to be like that, cause he is tar. Don't let him treat you that way. You are better than that. You were earning 3 times more than him and you both agreed you should be the one to quit your work. NTA, but what? NTA, but why are you still with this guy? Honestly, you are beyond lucky that your work wanted you back and at the income you were bringing it. This was, or at least was veering towards, financial abuse. If a decision is made that one parent stays home and the other works, it's not on the one not working to be paying for everything. Seriously, take a long hard look at this and how vulnerable your position would have been if your work hadn't wanted you back at the same position you left at. Put aside the disrespect of him not contributing to the care of your child and home for a moment and just think about how you would have survived if you didn't have the option of your work. It should, frankly, frighten you. He promised to take care of you and wanted you utterly dependent on him instead. If you're a SAHP, then you should have joint money. Otherwise it just doesn't make sense, At that point it's not I pay for myself and you pay for yourself, it's we contribute to the home in paid labor and you in unpaid labor. You should be contributing similar amounts of labor to making your joint lives work together. It sounds like you should go back to work and then find a new husband because ugh to this guy. NTA. Everyone who lives in the house contributes to the overall mess. So everyone is required to contribute to chores and upkeep in some way. No partner should ever be doing 100% of the housework and 100% of the childcare regardless of HOS working and HOS SAP. NTA. Thrice as much as him? Why the duck are you the one who has to quit? SMH misogynists. I'm really confused. Where is his money going? Is he hoarding his money and you both have separate finances? A marriage is a partnership and, based on what you are describing, you both live like you're just dating instead of being married. I feel like there is more to this that is not being mentioned. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.